Hi, my name's Kim. I'm going to talk about Counselling Conversations again, Chapter 9 this time. My interview with Nothara Suraweera. Nothara called the chapter More Than Just a Counsellor because she works in a regional high school as a school counsellor, and so she wears many hats. And the interview began, as it did with most of the counsellors that I interviewed, it began from childhood, really. I think it's really interesting to know the whole person and get a sense for their journey. And again, a lot of people didn't think about counselling until a certain crisis came about in their lives. So Nothara talked about in her gap year after wondering whether she'd go and do her honours in psych or something else. She had a difficult time with something, and through the deep contemplation about the crisis, she came to a special connection with herself. And that connection with herself enabled her to really know what she wanted to do in her life. And she went on and studied her Masters of Counselling, which is where I met her when I was a clinical supervisor at Monash. And she talks about how with the students that come and see her, it's the connection that has the biggest impact every time. And how, as humans, we're created for connection. I thought that was just a lovely phrase. She's had to learn a lot about mandatory reporting, which, because she did her placement in a very busy suburban high school, she got a lot of experience, but she lands the job where she's the only one. She's the counsellor that takes those responsibilities and, talks about the importance at the end of the day. There's been a handover of risk, whether that's to family or someone at the school or an external service. And that's something I've learned from Nothara. Just a little phrase like that handover of risk. I, as a supervisor, can say to someone else, you need to make sure there's a handover of risk. There's an expectation as well in the school that as the welfare counsellor, you can there help the teachers as well. Parents might need some support. And, whether it's a professional learning day, Nothara's there doing meditation work, helping them through the COVID crisis. And then the other thing I wanted to share with you, which was really great, this is about a year ago, we'd had a supervision session where Nothara had talked about how some of the students wear depression as a badge. So when the interview came around to that conversation about the stigma of mental health problems and young people, whether they want to talk about them or not, it came back to that. Look, some people wear it as a badge and say, yes, I've got depression. And others, it's more private, more personal, the fear of being judged. So that's discussed a little bit in the chapter 2. And I will put a link below to the t-shirt exercise, which I used to do quite a lot. Make a t-shirt cutout, and on the front you write the things you're proud about, and on the back things you're not so happy for people to know about you. And then after that conversation with Nothara, I always made sure I say, well, some people even put depression as a badge at the front. And also Nothara talked about how she manages confidentiality when you have teachers saying, well, what's happening with that student? I need to know. And she's got some great tips. She's learned so much. I do hope you enjoy reading Chapter 9, More Than Just a Counsellor, with Nothara Suraweera.